Hi, everyone. Janine here from the Book Publishing Academy podcast. Today we have a special guest, Amelia Casias. She is going to be sharing with us about her contribution to our anthology book, Voices That Inspire. I'm super excited to sit down and just chat with her a little more. So thank you for joining us, Amelia.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me be here.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am obviously a new author, thanks to you pushing me. But I am just a mom. I've been in healthcare for the last 16, 17 years, case management and social work, so trying to get out of it. But I am going to, oh, sorry, my husband's walking by. So I am just trying to kind of get my footwork out there with the book. And I think this anthology piece was a really good way to start bringing that out in me.
I love it. And I know that anthologies bring together like so many different voices. What do you hope readers will take away from your particular chapter?
To know that even when domestic violence starts from a young age, just it's possible to get out of it. It's possible to break that generational curse and trauma and bonds that we have and tear those chains apart. And it's possible even when you start as a child, going all the way up into an adult, and you can't seem to break that cycle, it is possible.
What would you say, like, what helped you break your cycle? Because it's hard.
It is. It is. It's very hard. After three kids with three dads, and two of those relationships being just really bad relationships. Not horrible, horrible, but domestic violence. There was a lot of that. So with that, it just, I don't know. I got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take going through these cycles, and I couldn't take, you know, leaving one relationship and jumping into another that was ultimately ending the same way. And so, unfortunately, I got arrested for a domestic violence situation. And it just, I accepted it. I accepted the punishment, even if, I knew what had happened. I accepted it and I took every opportunity to take all the resources they gave me and I ran with them. I ran with them and I just focused on myself and I shut everybody else out for honestly, about 2 or 3 years.
Wow. Why did like what made you feel like right now is the right time to speak out?
I've been trying for a while and working with our case management and our social work department with my last company was very eye-opening to healthcare disparities. So when I started thinking about healthcare disparities, I started thinking about, well, I know my healthcare disparity, and my healthcare disparity is my stress. A lot of it was my financial situation, my stress level. And it has to, I feel like in order for a lot of women, because stress affects us horribly. So I feel like in order for a lot of women to really find what they need out of a lot of just different situations, it has to start from health and also your environment. And when you put those two things together, you can create magic. And I want to write a healthcare reform book. So I'm going to well, I am writing one, but I'm going to kind of intertwine them because my health took a dive when sounds crazy, when I started getting to a point where I was no longer being held down by the constraints and everything of the trauma that I had. And I felt like my body was like, oh, you're good now. Boom, take you down. And it really kicked a lot into high gear with me because we never know how long we're going to be here. And the more people that we can help, the more people that I could help by sharing my story, I want to.
I have heard that abuse and trauma gets engraved into our DNA, like on a cellular level. And when you're in it, you're kind of in fight or flight mode all the time,
Right.
constantly anxious. But when you finally start to do the healing work and everything is calm and peaceful, is when all of that starts to resurface, and then your body starts to take a toll. So you start to have
Right.
sicknesses and illnesses, but that's just a way of our body like healing itself. It might take
Mhm.
time though. It takes time. I
Yes.
love that you touched on that because I've seen it. I've seen it happen. It happened to me. It has happened to other people too. What would you say was the most challenging part about putting your story into words?
The fact that I was able to, for me, I was able to write it in literally one night and I didn't touch it for about a month. That was the hardest part. And it wasn't because of the trauma that I had to rethink or anything like that. It was just the overall feeling of exposing myself and the vulnerability. And we talked about that, and in the academy, we talk about that a lot, but it was definitely just that I don't know, I I was just nervous and I was a whole lot of different emotions. I was so scared and happy at the same time, but when I went back to reread it, I was just the vulnerability set in, so I had to take a break, and then I go back and read a little bit more, and then the vulnerability set in again, and it was just this really weird cycle that I went through. And once I sent it to you, I'm like, that's it, sending it, done. I'm not touching it again, because I would have criticized myself so much and critiqued it and just sat there and no, I don't want to share that. No, I don't want to share that. And to me, those were the most important things that I wanted to leave out. But they're the most important things of my childhood, of my adulthood that should not be left out.
Yeah. And I can resonate with that because I did that for 17 years where I would write my book, put it to the side, pick it up, fix it, put it to the side, fix it, put it to the side. And I did that for 17 years with my first book. So at some point you do have to get to a point where you're just like, I'm done. I can't fix this
Mhm.
anymore. It's not gonna get, it doesn't, the story doesn't change. It stays the same. Yeah.
Right.
Um, so did you have like any breakthroughs or any healing, perspective through writing?
Um, I think I did. I think honestly, I had a lot of healing with my mom and my sister.
Hmm.
And even my dad too, my real dad, my real parents, I should say, my biological. I had a lot of breakthrough with them. So, of course, I asked them and I let them know I was writing it. I got no pushback whatsoever from them, even with, them knowing their history and stuff like that. My family was so just very happy that I was doing this, for myself
I love.
and even for them too. But I was expecting to kind of have some, really, really bad moments with my mom based on what I was writing, or my dad, and I didn't. So it really made it an easy process that way. Now, when I get to writing the full one, that might change a little bit and be different, because this one is more just, it shows my cycle and it shows the cycle until I broke it. Whereas the other one will be completely more in depth, and it'll tell about those really in-depth traumas that I have and not just the surface of them.
Hmm. And I would have to say, I hate using the word lucky, but a little bit of luck because a lot of people do share their stories and their families do not like it. They want to protect
Yeah,
abusers and or they want to hide what happened from the world. So
right.
the fact that your family was like open to it, just it kind of shows too where they are as well. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? On their healing
Yeah,
journey. Because if it could have been 5 years prior, they might have been like, no, you're not doing that. You know what I mean?
absolutely would have been. Hmm.
So, but I'm excited to see, like, yeah, you're gonna share more in the second book, but I'm excited to see what your journey is gonna look like and if this is gonna bring you guys even more closer and
Hmm.
allow more healing to happen and the conversations to happen. Um,
Yeah,
so, how did being a part of a group of authors with similar passions and experiences impact your journey as a writer?
made me want to do it more. Like, of course, I wanted to do it. I think I told you before, I've been wanting to write since I was little. I mean, I wanted to be an English teacher. You know what I mean? So it was just wanting to do it, and doing it alone is one thing, but when you have, like, going to the Book Publishing Academy, when you have that support from people who have either been close to being in your shoes or have been in your shoes, and you can all resonate together and sit there, it's just, I think magic truly, truly is going to happen with this book. And I know some of the authors' stories a little bit, not all of them. Obviously, there's some new ones, but I think it's just going to be such an amazing project that I I didn't know how to feel. I just took it on and I was like, yes, I feel at home is what it was. Is I felt at home at the Book Publishing Academy, and I felt at home with, the meetings and writing them, and I didn't feel like anyone was going to be judging me because regardless, at the end of the day, we were all telling our story of our trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely, I love it. I like having the group setting. It's just makes me, especially as a new author, it makes me feel just okay.
Included too. How
Included, yeah.
How do you feel like this has influenced you and your purpose moving forward? Because, like you said, you were stuck in a moment where you're like writing it, fixing it, putting it to the side, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. You sent it off. And now that you've done that, and now the book is coming out soon, do you feel like a release of like, I'm doing this, and now I can, like how you said, I could do more? Like, how do you feel it has influenced your purpose?
So it has definitely influenced it to want to write more, but it also taught me that I need to slow down on my trauma book, on my full book, because it's very, even though I can talk about it, writing it down is very different for me. And it probably, I see, yeah, you're like, yep. Um, it's it's way more different when you put it on paper and you're editing it. You're going through it so many different times, and you're going through it in so many different emotions, because you might feel one way this minute, but the next day when you're reading it, you might be in this mood. And so really having to stop myself when I'm in a certain mood is, well, when I wake up having a nightmare or something, I'm just not in a good mood. I had to stop myself and say, don't touch your book, don't look at it, don't edit it, don't do anything. So the big one, my full one that I write, is going to take me a little longer. I've realized, although I've got a lot of it done, I had to stop. Once it got to a certain point about, the trauma that my kids have had to endure, that's where it got really hard. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, let's learn to put it down, and let's learn to walk away from it for a little bit and regain our composure and then go back. So it's being in this anthology piece has really taught me that, since it wasn't such a long piece. So that was amazing. I was like, okay, I'm glad I did it this way.
It's almost like the book meets us where we are when we put it down.
Right,
And we're not putting it down because we want to fix it, but we're putting it down because we still need to process certain things and heal through certain things. Whereas if you were to rush it and just write it in 1 week, you know what I mean? Because you're dead set on it. It's going to be a different experience than if you just take your time with it and allow yourself to think about certain things. I will say this from my experience, because I've done both. I've taken my time with certain books over the course of 6 to 8 months. And then there was one book in particular, I wrote it in 3 weeks because I was just getting the downloads and I was writing. But I will tell you this, there have been moments where I have looked back and read my books and I'm like, I didn't remember going through that, which is scary because we go through trauma sometimes and we forget. And they talk about that with kids too. Like children sometimes will go through trauma and they don't remember it until they're an adult, or they mask it,
right,
they completely erase it out of their mind. And that has happened to me where I go back and read something and I'm like, oh, that happened, you know? So it is a journey. So give yourself grace. And that, I mean, that might happen to you where so you write this amazing book and then later, 10 years down the line, you're like, that freaking happened. And you're like, I can't believe that happened to me. Like, I can't believe I
right,
overcame that. That's crazy, you know?
right.
So it is all good. I think you're on the right path and take your time with that one. This was like a
Yeah.
little jump start to it. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
book. If you could speak directly to a reader who's going through a similar experience as what you wrote, what would you say to them now?
I would say hang on, find your resources. Um, Hide a cell phone if you have to in your kids' drawer with a phone card. Like I would say, these are things that I've done, but I would say don't give up and don't think that everybody is not there for you because there are so many people, even people that we don't know in this world who are willing to be that hand to take us out of those situations. I know that it comes from the start of course, within being able to find the courage to want to leave. But even if you don't have that courage, you can still leave and gain that courage to stay away. You don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through it alone. You just have to be willing to reach out and accept the help and kind of see things for what it is. It's
Mhm.
it's hard, but we have to. We have to start teaching women to do that.
Mm.
And people, just people in general.
Yeah.
We have to start thinking outside the box and figuring out ways that we can really, just get them the trauma gone. Their trauma gone. It's so hard because everyone's so different, but I want everybody to know you're not alone. Not alone.
And I love that you said just hold on because that's my thing. I suffered with suicide ideation when I was going through my abuse,
Yeah.
and that's the tip that I give people is just hold on. It's that Good Charlotte song. I don't know if you remember it. Good Charlotte, hold on.
Hmm.
And they talk about like just hold on, like even if it's one more day, and then the next day, hold on one more day, and then the next day, one more day. And
Right.
it is so true because after you do share your story, you're gonna not meet, but I mean, there's gonna be people that will tell you, and people that you randomly haven't spoken to maybe in 10 years, that will tell you, you could have called me. I would have picked up that phone for you, and I would have been the person that would, you know what I mean? So there
Yeah.
are people out there. We just, when we're in it, we think we have nobody. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody's gonna help. But there are. So,
And we're embarrassed too. As a woman, especially when you have kids and you're going through relationships, it's embarrassing to have to rely on your family to say, "Hey, this is happening to me. Can you hang on to my kids for a week while I get my shit straight? Or can you help me financially?" And then your family's looking at you like, I've had those looks, even though I had a lot of support during my relationships, I had those looks. And those feelings of I don't want to ask because I don't want that look because I already feel horrible enough. And so breaking that stigma, I think, is a very important thing as well, is being able to rely on the family and the friends that we do have that we don't want to reach out to. So that's hopefully that'll come in my bigger book because I think that's a very big important thing in domestic violence and just traumas as well is being able to truly trust who say they're there for you. So
and
with trauma, we learn not to trust anybody. When we're traumatized, we don't trust anybody. So having that family that says, "I'm here, call me." In the moment, we're like, "Nope, they're not there for us. This person's not here for me right now that's sleeping next to me. Why is that person going to be there for me?" So being able to put that aside and those feelings aside and think clearly and say, "I have this resource. I'm going to utilize it right now. I need it right now." And then actually doing it. I think that's one of the hardest steps, honestly.
that's so courageous.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, you're amazing. I'm so proud of you and all that you're
Thank
currently
you.
doing and everything that you're going to do. What's next for you after this anthology?
So I am 32 pages deep in my healthcare reform book.
Love it.
I did have to kind of step away from it a little bit just because I've been having my own healthcare stuff for, quite a few years. Like I said, my traumas have taken me out a little. Um, but I am kind of doing like a social work case management type book where it's going to talk about the ins and outs of the clinics and where it starts and eventually leading up to ending up in the hospital and how that works and the things that we as medical assistants, as nurses, as healthcare providers can things that we can do to kind of shape the healthcare system and change it into a better treatment centers. And so I'm working on that. Other than that, it is just I'm going to be enrolling back in school, hopefully, and get my social work degree. I had tried with CAC, but I didn't really like their curriculum. So I'm just going to try with SNHU. I really like their social work path that they have. And hopefully I can get going with that. But otherwise, I just volunteer, take care of my health, and write my stories right now and take care of my family.
I love it. I'm so proud of you and I'm super excited.
Thank you.
And if anyone is tuning in or viewing, we are actually hosting our anthology book launch event on October 4th at Testal Mexican Kitchen. I
Yes.
don't know. Test out Mexican Kitchen in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're local, we'll be there from 4 to 6. Our authors will be reading us excerpts from their book, and we will have books for sale. A portion of the proceeds will be donated to She Thrives Foundation. They specialize in helping women leave domestic violence situations and provide them financial resources so that they can go back to school and get some help to be able to thrive after abuse. So we would love to see you there. And Amelia, any last minute words for viewers or listeners?
Don't forget to watch for our book. Don't forget to pre-order if you haven't. And if you know somebody who is in the situation, going through it, has been through it recently, can't seem to get out of that funk, get this book and share it with them. Share it with them, share it with them, and share it with them.
Love it. Thank you so much for
You're
joining us
welcome.
today. We're so grateful for you. And guys, if you are listening, make sure that you comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and we will see you on the next episode of the Book Publishing Academy podcast. Bye.
Bye.